Well, the Middle East still remains extremely influential and important in terms of being a reliable source of crude oil and natural gas to international markets. So about a fifth of the world's total oil production comes from the countries that border around the Strait of Hormuz. So if there is any disruption to flows of crude coming out of that region, then that would necessarily put a lot of upward pressure on prices. Oil markets are responding to a escalation of tensions between the United States and Iran, and perhaps are fearful that there could be some kind of disruption to supplies coming out from the Middle East, whether that's coming out via the Strait of Hormuz, where most of the exporters in this region send their crude, or pipeline links that come out of Iraq and head up through the northern regions into Turkey. I don't think we're in a phase where markets would support $100 oil, and that's not just related to issues from the Middle East, but really we're in a market that has a lot more avenues or a lot more opportunities than it did several years ago. So if we had, for instance, a sustained period of outages from producers in the Middle East, there are, first off, significant inventories that can still be drawn on in a lot of the developed markets. And beyond that, you have the United States, which is going to be bordering on 13 million barrels a day of production in 2020. In terms of the scale of price move, that's pretty tricky to put an exact number on it, but certainly moving from a sort of 60 to 70 range to a 70 to $80 barrel range would be much more likely. But we have seen investment from countries in the region in diversifying their, let's say, avenues to get crude out to the rest of the world. So Saudi Arabia does have a capacity to export via the Red Sea. The United Arab Emirates can also export via Fujairah, which bypasses the Strait of Hormuz. So there are some opportunities for these countries to be able to bypass it. They're not quite the same capacity level that we see as the ports in the Gulf itself, but there is an ability for them to get crude out into the national markets if there is a disruption for a prolonged period of time.